The power of actually just conviction and starting to associate with things early. Many years later in life, when I am appointed to the Jubilee Party, I then find Mutava Musimi and me working in the same National Executive Committee.
Wow, look at that.
So I was the National Youth Chair, and he was also serving on the National Executive Committee. The art of politics in itself is about timing.
Okay.
And you must get your timing correct. We had this one advantage during the protest last year, that we had gotten the president to a corner, to the extent that the desperation in the presidency was so high that the president was willing to come and have a conversation, even on Twitter. The president had accepted to come and have this conversation. That was our time to put our demands on the table.
Thank you.
But then we missed the bus. So there is someone making a lot of money from this. That's why that person will never want there to be calm. Why is someone leading you in saying you don't want a dialogue? It's because this person knows that when you start having a dialogue, he loses you as political capital. One of the reasons I was chased from KU was because of Morara. So Morara is my friend. He's younger than me, but he's one of those young people that is coming up in the university, and I'm supporting. I think Morara had been blocked from being on the ballot or something. But now he's heavily associated with me, and I'm staff. And then that is around the same time the university gets banned. Now, we must shift the conversation from just saying we want more young people to saying we want impactful young people. And that's why now politicians have the guts. Recently, I saw the former deputy president, he had the guts to say he has now told Gen Z not to go on the street, as if he's told them to come to the street.
So hello guys, and welcome to Touch Digital TV. My name is Amina Hussein, and you're watching Sips and Soul, where we share, connect, feel, and also journal onto human interest stories. And today I am joined by the one and only Advice Mundalo. He is the communication consultant and youth leader at the Jubilee Party. Welcome sana mheshimiwa.
Asante sana, mimi si mheshimiwa, I'm just a Kenyan.
No, wewe ni mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being in the studio today.
Yeah.
Tunashukuru sana.
Hata mimi nashukuru kuwa hapa.
So you're being known for, when it comes to matters, politics.
Yeah.
But today at Sips and Soul, we want to know you now personally and your personal experiences. What has made Advice Mundalo?
Wow. That's quite a hard one. Maybe I don't know where to start from. But then I love the introduction.
Okay.
Maybe the only bit of the introduction that we missed. Yes, I'm a communication and leadership consultant.
Okay.
I run an organization called Two Sense Leadership Institute, where we basically do leadership training and communication consultancy. I'm also the National Youth Chair for the Jubilee Party. That's quite debatable though, because I was just degazetted last week. So I'm bordering between, though we are in court, because of the matter. The party has been having a lot of in and out of court for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Because you see, after being the ruling party, you get into a lot of issues. So we have a lot of issues at the National Executive Committee. But be that as it may, I have represented young people at the National Executive Committee of the party for way about 3 years, from the time when we were the ruling party.
Okay.
About 3-4 years. I was put there by the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta. And yeah, so we helped shape policy and legislation and do a few things for young people at the time. I pride myself to be the pioneer political party youth chair that was able to champion for government to start having young people at senior levels of government. That's the time when we started having young people being appointed on boards, young people being put on commissions. Previously, it never used to happen. It was a reserve of the older folk.
Okay.
So some of the things we were able to do. Now you asked me who is Advice. That's me in
allow me to
nutshell.
interrupt you kidogo and ask you about that.
Yeah.
You being the father of that, making sure that all these young people can be able to have a spot in the government office and all those stuffs. Is there a difference between now and then?
There is I can't say there is much of a difference. I can only be able to say, in terms of the number of young people, that has it has actually even grown with this administration, because it has picked up rather well. Today we have some of the youngest PSs. We, for the first time, I think we have a PS of Youth Affairs. We were not able to achieve that at the time. despite our heavy push. Today we have a young person as PS of Youth Affairs, and you should be able to have him here and have these conversations with him. He's called Fikirini Jacobs. Fikirini is a gentleman who are running together for the Senate. When he was running for Senator of Kilifi, I was running for Senator of Bungoma in the just before the 2022 election. So at some point, pale nyuma around 2018, we were struggling with trying to look for funds and whatever. And I remember one day we came from Nakuru with him, and my car had broken down. So tulipanda matatu, and we were Senate aspirants all the way to Nairobi. So there's a lot. So it was a question.
Mask, anything?
No. We're just young people. So we're like, this is our issue. So we have navigated these streets. And so, yes, they have been able to try to do something.
Okay.
I keep arguing, and the Gen Z don't like me saying this, but I keep saying that this is the youngest government we have actually had.
True.
Since independence.
I think I am in.
Yeah. It's the youngest government.
That.
Since independence, this is the youngest president. Since independence, we have a young person as the chair of the finance committee, Kimani Kuria, and those who are in KU some time back would remember that he was actually a CU chairman.
Anyway,
he's the current MP. So generally, in terms of having young people, they do. The problem that they have is what is then the impact of those young people. Because you see, being young does not necessarily make you a good leader.
It's what you bring to the table.
It's what you bring to the table. And so we must shift the conversation from just saying we want more young people to saying we want impactful young people. Because you can be so many young people, but there is no impact. It's the same conversation that you usually have about women, and insisting that women must be in leadership. We have 47 of them in counties today. Yeah. Maybe you would tell me what is the impact.
I think we'll get to that. Because, yes, we'll get to that, definitely. I must point out, because whatever they are talking out in parliament or outside there, I think they're making us regret that position of women reps in our country. Because if a woman rep can come, we have a lot of femicide cases outside here, and they're among the people when they go to that podium and they're being told, oh, now mama natosha matoshi. You see, that's anyway, we'll come to that. Because we have a lot to talk about. Let's sip on that. Let's sip on that one. I want to know, where was advice Mundalo made?
I don't know even whether advice is made. But I was born in Bungoma County.
Yes.
I'm born and bred in Bungoma County to two parents who are of middle earning. I went to school modestly. I went to Lugulu boarding. Yeah.
I know of Lugulu girls.
You know of Lugulu girls.
Yes.
So opposite Lugulu girls, there's Lugulu boarding. That's where I went for my primary school midway. Then somewhere in the middle, I went to Tete Academy, which was a school that my father was starting up.
Okay.
So it was actually both an academy and a children's home, because it was taking care of the less privileged children in the society. That's where I went to school. Then, of course, it was a school in the village. So, not a village setting, but modestly so.
Okay.
Then I went to Friends School Kamusinga. Yeah. We know we who went to Kamusinga, we insist on saying it's not a high school. It's not a secondary school.
Poleni.
It is Friends School Kamusinga. So that is where I went. It's a school of the few.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Friends School Kamusinga. My principal then was Nabukwesi, who then ended up as an ambassador. I think one of the principals of a high school who was ever promoted from being a school principal to an ambassador. Then he came back and he became PS of education. So that's where I went to into my high school. And then I went to Kenyatta University. Yeah. And I think my parents did quite a good job in just nurturing us that way. I'm not one of those people who believes in coming to Nairobi and you make 1 or 2 shillings, then you start telling people that you grew up in abject poverty. So that you attract a lot of sympathy.
So growing up, did you have the nose for politics, ama ilikuwa tu just a normal childhood?
I had a normal childhood, but I was very ambitious. And I had a knack for leadership. There is always something in me that wanted something changed on the aspect of leadership.
Okay.
When I was in primary school, I was the person in my primary school who pushed the school for the first time to have an election of prefects. When I was in, I think, class 6.
How old were you?
How old was I when I was in class 6? Do I even remember?
That's gauge. Talk class 6 and between 10 to 12.
Yeah, around that age.
Okay.
And then it was a bit of a struggle. Then by the time I got to class 7, the school bulged and accepted to have the election.
Okay.
I was very tiny and young, and then I ran for...
At least they accepted.
Yeah. Then I ran for school captain, then called head boy.
Okay.
Now, the tradition of the school was that a head boy has to be in class 8. But the school allowed me to run because they believed I can't win. Then shock on them.
Mm-hmm. You won.
I won that election.
Okay.
And so he had to... I think that was my first time at interacting with what Raila now calls a conclave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a dialogue. Mm-hmm. Because now he had to have... I was forced into a dialogue to allow the person who came second, because he was in class 8, to become the head boy, and then I become the deputy. Just on the basis of I was in class 7. So that was my first experience with dialogue in political circle. So I was really a person who was interested in the leadership. My parents used to buy me a calendar that, those calendars that used to have ministers, members of parliament. Now, I remember my parents were not so sure about whether they really wanted me to pursue that line of interest. You see the way people have these beliefs of, politics is a dirty whatever, and all this and all that. Yeah. So I used to have that calendar and I used to look at it. And one day, I don't know whether he remembers this, but my father once told me that if you really want to be a politician and you want to be in the leadership, then be like this one here on the calendar. On the calendar was Mutava Musimi. I don't know whether you know Mutava Musimi. Mutava Musimi was then deputy speaker, I think, and he was MP of some constituency, I think, in Embu.
Okay.
Now, funny enough, I asked my father why. Then my father said it's because the guy is, Mutava Musimi is actually a reverend. So his abbreviation is Reverend Mutava Musimi. Okay. So according to my father, this guy, because a reverend, this must be the right example for what. But then the power of actually just conviction and starting to associate with things early. Many years later in life, when I am appointed to the Jubilee Party, I then find Mutava Musimi and me working in the same National Executive Committee.
Wow, look at that.
So I was the National Youth Chair, and he was also serving on the National Executive Committee. Honorable Mutava Musimi. Okay. Recently, he's been the chair of the committee that was dealing with the Shakahola issue.
Oh, okay.
He was the chair of the... So we ever got to work together at some point.
So
and I told him that story.
Oh, I was going there. So how did he react?
He was very, very shocked, and it made him very excited. Okay. He was very excited that somebody was looking up to him at that time, because you can imagine that was a time when I was in primary school. He was in parliament.
Okay.
And I have been able to come all the way and now sit with him on one decision-making table where all of us have one vote each.
Were you starstruck at first?
Yeah, I was shocked and excited at the same time. You see, serving in the National Executive Committee of the ruling party, especially at that age, you are the youngest, and there's a lot, because you see, your chair of the National Executive Committee is the president. Okay. So when you go to that meeting, you are meeting the president. So you have the president, you have the Wakshudhikina Kioni, Kanini Kega, Sabina Chege, and all those people. So you're working with people who are very experienced in the political space, and then you really have to do a lot in terms of balancing your political youthfulness and naivety and making sure that you have actually a valid point to contribute on the table.
When you're working, allow me to interrupt you, I'm sorry. When you're working with them at that time, you are the youngest.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was the youngest, very, very young, because you see, I became National Youth Chair, I think, at 28.
Ooh.
Yes. Okay. So, and that is the time now I'm starting to interact with these people. And now you have to have something to say.
Okay.
And you are serving as a chair. Okay. Some of them, you see, the National Executive Committee is near of about 28 of you. But you see, you are only about 4 chairs. So you are very high in the pecking order, and you must have something constructive to say. You know, it is very easy to say things from the street. It is very easy because you have a lot of confidence. But now when you sit and this is the president, and now you're being told now, hey, so what can you say?
There was a time last year when we had the demonstrations. The president came to Twitter. Literally aliingia live. Everyone, like most of the people joined, others joined with the pseudo accounts. And he was talking to the young people. He was asking, tunataka nini? And then after now having the live, now, of course, things are back to normal on Twitter. You're looking at what's trending. So people were saying that tumekuwa na president kwa live and no one was asking anything tangible. So what was the fight about? So you know, kitu ilifanya like, why don't we talk? So kulikuwa na hiyo notion ya, when I talk they will come for me. When I ask certain questions they will do this and this and this and this. So there's this also fear of asking, but right now I can feel like tumefungua hiyo part, but still there's that.
I really don't think, Amina, it's about fear, especially when you talk about the situation of last year. Because if there was fear, then we couldn't have insults.
True.
Because on that same platform, the president was insulted. So if a person can, the amount of fear you need to make a point is lesser than the amount of fear you need for you to actually insult the head of state.
True.
So, and at that time, I remember I became quite unpopular among young people because of what I was agitating for. I was one of the people who kept saying, guys, why can't we take this conversation seriously? Because you see, the art of politics in itself is about timing. And you must get your timing correct. We had this one advantage during the protest last year, that we had gotten the president to a corner, to the extent that the desperation in the presidency was so high that the president was willing to come and have a conversation even on Twitter. Which is something extremely unlikely. Actually, in government, if you ask any government official, even just having a conversation on Facebook is a whole complication for a senior government official. Policy issues and whatever. The president had accepted to come and have this conversation. That was our time to put our demands on the table.
Thank you.
But then we missed the bus. And you see, the reason why up to today the Mau Mau are still fighting for their rights is because they stayed in the forest too long after independence. They had fought for independence, yes, but we had gotten independence. But instead of coming out to negotiate, they continued sitting in the forest. That's why 60 years down the line, they are still looking for their rights.
True.
So that is the same thing that we did as young people at the time. We had gotten the government to a corner. That was our time to now say, this is what we want. We want this. We want this ministry held like this. We want the National Employment Authority treated like this. We want the number of teachers to be hired moved from this number to this number. We want the NYS to be treated like this. It was our time to negotiate for the interests of young people.
But there's some people who spoke, and they spoke their mind.
And all the people who tried to speak were rejected by the masses who said they are not their leaders. I remember we tried to have a press conference at some point to agitate for the issues, and there was a lot of uproar online for saying those guys are not our leaders. So everyone had to step back.
Because leaderless, tribeless.
So we continued with the leaderless, tribeless conversation. So we missed the bus. We didn't also understand that there are some people who did not wish that we have a real conversation. Because again, we have people, politics is very complex.
And don't put politics in your heart. At the end of the day, I figured out this year. You will die.
It's extremely complex. That's why there is always someone pushing an interest. There is someone who wants to ensure that young people should not have this conversation. There is someone who wants to ensure that these demonstrations must continue, but for their personal reasons. Remember, there is someone from civil society. This person from civil society gets a lot of money every time you are on the street, because then they write these proposals, they get funding, they say, there is a problem in Kenya. Ask yourself why the structure would be leaderless, but someone would still want to insist on printing t-shirts for you. Someone is still insisting that he must bring coffins to the street. Why is he spending? Why is someone spending? That means someone is justifying.
We can sip on that one. Let's sip on that.
Someone is justifying expenditure. So whereas you are on the street and you are innocent, you are looking for your rights. You are an ordinary, honest young person on the street. There is someone who is being paid for you being on the street. There is someone who is using you to justify some budget. There is someone who is saying, most of the young people are now being looked for. We need some place to go and hide them. So he's looking. So there is someone making a lot of money from this. That's why that person will never want there to be calm. That person will always want that there is always turmoil. I keep telling young people that you must look at everybody and ask yourself, some of these people, since you were born, have you ever heard them saying anything is going right? Since you were born, they have always been saying everything is going wrong. Honestly, something must go right at some point.
Yeah, something must go right. Okay.
You get,
but
we have those.
I also feel like, genuinely,
yes,
of course, tunaweza kuwa outside there on the street demonstrating for our rights and stuff. But I felt like most of us youths, especially the Gen Zs, we were honest with it. Like, really honestly,
extremely honest.
We are there with hatuna jobs, we are there. But if someone is doing actually that, that's very sad.
Unfortunately, and the person doing that is the one benefiting the most.
Yes.
Two people are benefiting the most from the street demos. One, the civil society that takes advantage.
Yes.
And two, the politicians. Because now the issue is, me as a politician, I don't want this person.
Okay.
If I do not want Ruto, because I want to run against Ruto, and these young people are saying Ruto must go, so they are helping me. Nice. So I must fuel them
to continue chanting.
To continue. And that's why a time comes and then someone says, no, we cannot have a dialogue. And then the young people were quick to say, yes, we can't have a dialogue. But the question is, why is someone leading you in saying you don't want a dialogue? It's because this person knows that when you start having a dialogue, he loses you as political capital. Because you are his political capital.
Very smart.
You get? So until we also choose to start reasoning properly as the younger people, so that we are not taken advantage of. Otherwise, we will keep agitating, but we are serving the interests of purely other people. And that's why now politicians have the guts. Recently, I saw the former deputy president, he had the guts to say he has now told Gen Z not to go on the street. As if he's told them to come to the street.
But I saw that clip and I was like, okay.
Yeah, he has now summoned the courage to now say, so for as long as there is calm in Kenya today.
And then he added that the reason why he has told us to not go to the streets is because we will be short. At the end of the day, we lose our lives. And hatutaweza kuvote 2027.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, the goal is one.
Exactly.
2027.
Exactly.
So everyone is protecting their pockets and
their pocket. And you see, as a politician, you also do your calculation. You look at it and you see that this demonstration has gotten to its height. It's possible that these people are starting to see through our eyes. They are starting to feel like this is not right. This demo is now not the young people. This is now about the goons and whatever. So these young people might not get out again. Now, because they might not get out again, let me pretend to be the one who told them not to.
Okay, let's put a pin on that. Let's put a pin on it. Because if you start touching on Gen Zs, I think tutashinda hapa. So, since, okay,
yes,
you're among the youngest, sitting in that table, asking good questions, cheering for this and that.
Yeah.
After high school.
Yeah, after my high school, I was a prefect in high school. Served in the school leadership.
Wapi? Mimi nilikuwa DH captain.
Mimi, I started as a dorm prefect. I was actually in my year of I was a prefect when I was in Form 1, which was very unlikely because the only prefect that used to be in Kamusinga in Form 1 is a class prefect. I was a dorm prefect.
Okay.
By the time we were getting to the second term. And I served as a dorm prefect. I served as a house captain. Yeah. And then served as a boarding prefect. So that used to be what used to be called the council in Friends School Kamusinga. You see, those guys,
Shout out, by the way, to Friends School Kamusinga.
Yeah. Everyone who went to Friends School Kamusinga has a lot of gentleman attributes.
So kwa hivyo nitafute huko.
Anyone no, you have already found.
We can sip on that. Okay, sawa. Graduated, went to which campus?
Yeah, finished with Kamusinga. Did a lot in terms of student leadership there. And I would say Kamusinga really shaped us in terms of really nurturing a leader. I really attribute a lot to that school because Kamusinga gave you a lot of responsibility as a prefect in that school.
Okay.
Kamusinga was the school where teachers simply taught. Discipline issues and whatever were purely in the hands of the prefects and the deputy. So it really shaped me at the time. Then I came to Kenyatta University. Did political science. And of course, while in KU, I did a lot with entertainment
When
as
you did
well.
political science, was it something that you were looking forward to doing in campus?
Yes, I really wanted to do political science. I wanted to do two things. I wanted to either do law or political science.
You could have made a very good lawyer.
Many people tell me that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll pursue law at some point.
Please do.
So I'll give it a snap.
Maybe it might be the next Chief Justice. You never know.
Unfortunately, being Chief Justice is not one of the things in my bucket list.
But it can be.
Because it's not my line. It's not the line I would want to pursue. I would want to be, the judge, magistrate. Not really. I have actually a lot of questions for the judiciary. I have a lot of questions.
Your journey in Kenyatta University.
Yeah, so I get to KU, and then the first thing that happened to me in Kenyatta University is the people from Kamusinga, the way you are first years and all of you are naive. People thought that when you are a prefect in high school, the imagination of those people is that when you come to university, you also have some sort of authority and power.
Because it's always in you. You're wearing it.
So we get to to Kenyatta University, and all of us are stranded out there, and people don't have accommodation. It's day one. I also don't have accommodation, but then all the students who are had reported to KU but came from Kamusinga were coming to me to help them get accommodation. I don't know why they imagined that I must be knowing some people in this. Kumbe hata mimi nilikuwa na shida kama tu hiyo.
Yeah, do you see?
Yeah, I also didn't have accommodation.
What did you do?
Then I realized, you cannot, when I realized these people really think I can provide a solution, I had to become up to task.
Wow.
So I was like, now here, I really, really have to come up with a solution. So I asked those gentlemen at the gate, I asked them, who is the school captain here? I didn't even know he's called a president. I said, who is the school captain here? I knew at the head of where it's called a school captain.
After me, when I went to campus, that's when I knew school president.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm directed to a business center in KU. And the president at the time was called Akoto. So I go to his office and he's not there. I find the secretary. I asked him, so where is the school captain? He tells me, no, he's called a president. So, but he's now at his residence. Where is the residence? They tell me somewhere in Nyayo. So I live there. I go there to that residence.
Mind you, you're just fresh from high school.
This is, yes.
Okay.
So I go there to the residence. First I get there and people are shocked. Now me, I don't know why people are shocked. Apparently at that time, people used to be so, like, the school president's residence was a no-go zone. Yeah? It was like some castate house of some sort. So me, I'm there. I'm find some people there. I tell them I'm here to see the president. So someone goes in and tells him there's a first year here who says he wants to see you.
Aka first year.
So he gets shocked and he's like, now, like, even him, he was like, which first year has these guts and the courage to really come and look for me? So he says, okay, let him come. So I get in. And then with all the activism in me, I come there and I start telling him, how do you guys call people to the university and you don't have accommodation for them? You can't call people. These are first years. They have never been to Nairobi. They have just arrived. And you have no accommodation for them.
Have you ever been to Nairobi?
I'm like, hey.
And have you ever been to Nairobi?
That was my second time.
Okay.
In Nairobi. But more or less like just the first time.
The first time, yeah, because,
it was just more or less like the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm here in this big thing called a university. So this gentleman, Akoto, is so perplexed. He's like, hey, who is this now? So he actually lives with me takes me to the accommodation department
Okay.
and says, this gentleman doesn't have accommodation, why can't we help him? I tell him, no, it's not about me. I have many people who don't have accommodation. He asks me how many people. I didn't even actually have the number. So I guess. I tell him 16. So he leaves me with the accommodation people and tells them, let's find a way to help this guy.
Okay.
I am actually given 16 beds to go and
Wow.
accommodate those guys.
Oh, that's quite
Only to find
creative.
those guys were not even 16.
How
That's
many?
how I ended up in a room that had 4 beds and I used to live alone. And everyone used to wonder, how special did this guy become?
4 beds. Hata si mbili. But that's good. That's very good.
Yes.
That's actually so good.
So that's how I started off in KU. Then I was very also passionate about the creative industry. Yeah. So that time there was only KUTT and Triple E in KU.
Okay.
So I chose to start THP, Talent House Productions. Why did I start Talent House? Because I felt most of what these other guys are doing is not organized. Yeah. I felt creative needed to be organized and it needed to send a message.
Okay.
I didn't believe in this idea of just meeting one evening. Then you come up with a few things that can make people laugh and then that becomes what people should come and watch. I didn't think that. I believed creative should send a message.
Okay.
We should be able to talk about corruption. We should be able to talk about the highlight issues. So I started THP, where now we used to do real plays, real narratives. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the real production.
I know of KU Drama.
Yes.
They're doing a nice job.
Exactly. At some point, even there is a lot of thing now. After my start of THP, at some point I was put in charge of KU Drama.
Wow.
And
Okay.
changed a lot of stuff within the KU Drama. At some point, I was the chair of the KU Drama.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the treasurer of Powerhouse. You know Powerhouse?
Powerhouse. Yes, I know Powerhouse.
Mass. Kenya Mass.
Kenya Mass.
Yes. Shout out to Kenya Mass.
So I get in. I start Talent House Productions, and we start doing a lot of production, and we really just changed how the whole creative scene is seen in the university. I started having shows that would actually pay people.
Wow.
I started now having a lot of brand endorsements for a university theater group. I started working a lot with corporates. And I have to credit the then Vice Chancellor, Professor Mugenda, never restricted as much.
Okay.
So I remember I worked with AIDS Healthcare Foundation. I used to bring them to, because I told you I was insistent on creative must have messaging. So we used to do a lot of messaging on matters, drugs, HIV. So I was able to get a lot of endorsement. I had AIDS Healthcare Foundation that I used to partner with to do AIDS awareness in campus. Yeah. And we used to, they used to fund, I could do a whole week
Okay.
of AIDS awareness in campus.
Let's not forget,
I
she's still a
worked
young
with-
man
Yeah,
doing all this.
yeah.
Hakukuwa na mtu hapo katikati mwenye ukimwona, you can be able, una smile too.
No, nilikuwa na smile na watu. That one is very true. And also, and people used to smile with me.
No, it's fine. I'm not talking about people. I'm going to the specific special person. Did you have any person beside you at this time, Mama? Ilikuwa tu.
In campus, I cannot say I really had anything very stable.
Hello, man. Anything stable.
In terms of something,
Simple that.
I didn't have something very, very stable. But at some point, I tried to have something stable, but then it collapsed like a building. But then, this time I'm having, now I started even bringing now that is the time we had guys like Dan Michieka who
Yes.
came through
Michieka,
Talent House
Michieka
Productions.
is, shout out to Michieka.
Sleepy David.
Yeah. Titi comedian.
Yeah, no, Titi was not with me.
Titi was with.
It was Titi. I think he came from Mombasa somewhere. But I had Kina Bonsheka.
Bonsheka. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bonsheka was actually in KCA University. I'm the one who brought him to KU.
Okay.
So that he can be able to pursue this line. And one of the interesting stories, when I started Talent House Productions, I was denied a hall for my first gig in KU. So the people gave me a hall for KCA University.
Shout out to KCA University.
So I had the first gig in KCA University, and we had this whole 2 months of rehearsal because I wanted to do something major. So guys have done the script, everything is top. We go to KCA University, lights, camera, action, the stage is ready, curtains open, roll. And guess what is in our audience? One person. That one person was called Alan Keith Sifuna.
Shout out to Alan Keith Sifuna.
Who then became the chairman of Talent House Productions, because then we recruited him. So we performed a whole show for Alan. Alan now acts for Tidy High. He acts for Mother-in-Law. I've seen him on billboards. He's really doing a good job within the creative space.
But how did that make you feel, man? The first show and there's no one.
Extremely disillusioned. I was extremely disillusioned. My team. Then I realized that my team is more disillusioned than me. Then I had to cancel my disillusionment.
Yes.
So that I can be able to. I told them, you know what, guys, we will do everything as planned. So we ran a whole show, 2 hours as planned. For one person.
Yeah, because he's an audience.
Because he is the audience.
Yes.
And we did that. So that was how I navigated KU.
Okay.
With the time, the university really loved me. We started now those culture week. Then we became the people, the to-go-to people who would be able to run very nice productions. The VC really loved it. Loved what we used to do. The same time, I used to seek a lot of partnerships. I was able to partner with the Presidential Press Music Commission.
PPMC.
PPMC.
Okay.
And twice we performed for national holidays. I used to remind the former president that before he even met me as political, there was a time I was with...
So that's when you met the former president?
Yeah, but it had no relationship with then how I got appointed. Actually, at that time, when he never even knew me. Yeah, he only knew me as he only knew the entertainment.
Okay.
So no relationship per se.
But they kudos on doing all that for the creatives. At the end of the day, I think docketees are CS for, you know, they're supposed to be run for any people like you should run such positions, because at the end of the day you understand the concept of the world of art, the world of creatives, how it's done, and so on and so forth. Kudos on that. Now let's move on forward to when you were appointed, to the journey on when you were appointed to, you know, Jubilee and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, way later, now remember that at some point university have started running for elections. I actually ran for election and lost in KU at some point. And then now I am now putting together, I was now elected the spokesperson at some point for the Kenya Youth Alliance.
Okay.
So I became spokesperson, now agitating for a lot of issues around young people. Then there was the creation of the BBI. And I was the vice chair for what we were calling the Youth for BBI, and just advocating for that. And then there was also a caucus that was putting together all the young people from the Western region, called the Mulembe Youth Movement, where I was the chair. So there was all this that I was doing, and also so I was on TV a lot, because remember, I'm a political scientist by profession actually. So I was a lot on the media as well, speaking my mind on matters governance, matters policy, what I think needs to be done. And actually at that time I was really speaking against government most of the time, and feeling like this is not happening right and that is not happening right. And then I'm running then I launched my bid now to run for Senator Bungoma County.
Oh, okay. At
the time. So within that turmoil there, I was identified just from the screens. People think I knew people and people who know people and whatever.
Sometimes it's just your hard work.
Yeah, I didn't have that. So I am identified from somewhere. I'm brought for some meetings to deliberate on what I think is happening in the country by some senior officials of the Jubilee Party at the time. I don't know exactly what they are looking for. And then from there, a thing leads to the other. Then I find myself in a meeting with the former president. I am really interrogated on how really I can be able to take care of these interests. Remember, this position had been looked for by so many people. It caused a lot of agitation, so everyone was really looking for it. But I had a lot of people who were able to say, no, this gentleman can actually do a good job. So a lot of how all that happened, I'm actually captioning it. I'm actually writing a book.
Wow.
So a lot of that will actually come out in that, because many people ask me, how did you end up there? How did the president even get to know you in the first place? And so like that, then I'm now appointed chair in some meeting in State House, and then we get to KICC, where we have the National Delegates Convention. Then it's ratified. Then everyone is shocked. The country is shocked, like, who was just named National Youth Chair for the Jubilee Party? And now my phone starts blowing out of proportion.
Hello.
Then I remember my mother is calling me and asking me, why are people calling me?
When you didn't tell them?
Nobody. I never told anybody. It's in my nature. I don't announce steps. I don't announce processes.
Why?
I only announce results.
Why?
Because I believe I don't believe in. You see, I don't believe in people who. I don't believe in shouting so much about the process. The processes. I believe in let the results speak for themselves. Yeah.
I love that.
I believe in let just the results speak. And plus, the universe has a lot of demons somewhere around the universe.
And
so
they hear everything.
They hear everything. So sometimes just shock them with the results. Results are better canvassed
so
than
you tell your
process.
mom,
My mother is asking me, what happened? I'm telling her, ask them why they are calling you. Why are you asking me? She's like, they're telling me that the president mentioned your name. And I'm wondering, because I was watching. No, my mother was watching.
Okay.
But she couldn't believe, she had my name, but she couldn't believe that could be someone she knows. Because according to her, this thing is so high profile. It really can't be that one.
He can't be my son.
It really can't be. So then there is, now that is usually where you get the right testament of, many people are always watching. They are waiting for you to succeed. They will blow up your phone. And then there's the burden of proximity. Everyone now wants to be very close to you. It was a big lesson on the aspects of leadership. Yeah. Because then it becomes a very hard job to decipher what is honest, truthful, and what is not. Because now everyone wants to associate with you. Everyone wants to.
Who's right for you and who's not for you.
Yeah. You cannot now tell who is right. Everyone is just bombarding you with all these. And so at a young age, that kind of attention can also be able to dismantle how your brain functions. Yeah?
True.
So you have to do a lot of work to ground yourself, to keep yourself sober.
And sane.
It's a lot of work. You have to wake up every day reminding yourself of who exactly you are. Because I feel like most of the mistake that young people make is when you get to a certain level and then you forget who you are. Then you start mistaking your colleagues for your friends.
Do you think that's the same thing that happened to Makaore Kasmo?
Yeah, I would say yes, because there was all this. You see, you are young, you have just woken up one day, and then there's all this attention. One, there's potential that you can start overestimating yourself. You can start thinking you are larger than life. Yeah?
True.
Because on one day you wake up,
everyone is just,
and the minister is calling you.
Yes.
Yeah? And the minister is telling you, Amina, could you be able to have a minute?
Okay.
And the following time, a governor is telling you, Amina, could I be able to see you tomorrow? Now, if you are not kept in line, you might start imagining that is now the real you. So pride can kick in.
Yes.
Then you must start looking like you're larger than life. So suddenly, my friends here start calling you, and you have no time for them. You're like, you know what? You belong to...
Nare standards.
Exactly. What you don't know is that those people calling you are not calling Amina. They are calling the glory in Amina.
They're calling the glory, actually.
So when the glory goes, they go.
True.
Yeah?
True.
And now that is how you start sinking into depression. So I had to really make that thin understanding and understand that there is Mundalo and there is the chairman of Jubilee. I have to understand that most of this attention is on the chairman, not on Mundalo. So I have to keep Mundalo sane. And for me to be also to retain this network that I am having of the people who are looking for the chairman, I must increase the value of Mundalo. So that when the chairman is gone, the value of Mundalo will be so high that these people would still find value in Mundalo.
Yes.
So most of the time, that's the mistake that we make, that you get into a glorious space and then Kiburi kicks in, all this pride.
Then your mission just diverts.
Then you forget that it is most of what you are receiving is not because of who you are, is because of what you are. And that's why when it vanishes, all the things that came with it will also vanish. And then you'll start calling people fake friends. They are not fake. They're not your friends from the beginning. You're just looking for a nice word to console yourself. They were never fake friends. They were just real people who associated with things at a certain level. There are people, who will call you today because you are hosting this podcast.
Yes. For sure. Oh my God, don't go there.
Yeah, they'll just be like,
yes, I can see you doing something.
Yeah.
But,
can you be able to host me?
Since 2022, I look at our last chat. No, not really last 2022.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you also have new people who you would attract because of the things that you're doing. So most of the time, it's about remaining sane. And that is what hit most of the young people, even during the protests and whatever. It entered their head. They started thinking they are larger than life. Suddenly, unaanza kusomea wenzako online. Suddenly, I usually see some of those things online where a guy has bought some small car. Suddenly, he wants to talk about, to educate you on wealth creation. Yes.
It was tough times. Tough times for us, especially us.
Yeah,
someone even offered, money for the best poet who would write good poems for the girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. See how it gets into the head of young people. Like suddenly you think you are this thing that happened after pancakes. You are the best thing that happened.
Okay.
So it's because it gets into your head, you start forgetting who exactly you are. So suddenly you believe. I always tell people that just because you're better than people, never think they are stupid. Sometimes it's just your time.
What?
Sometimes not even because you are. Sometimes
you're so talented.
No. Sometimes not even because there's anything good you did. There's even nothing great you did. It was just your time. Your ducks were just in one line. Sometimes it's just your ducks that are in the line.
Yes.
Yeah? So don't end up thinking that people are stupid just because you are able to make something out of whatever. Yeah? It's like my friends here who are working on your camera and your crew and whatever here. Something can happen. Yeah?
Yes. Anything
can happen. You can get a guest who comes here and just likes this camera guy here for his white shirt. Nothing extraordinary. He just likes this guy's white shirt.
Okay.
Yeah? And
do you think his move of joining the ODM party, was it the right move for him? Or
I have talked to Casmuel severally, and I like the gentleman. First of all, I really honestly believe that he's brilliant.
He is.
He's a brilliant chap. The same way my friend Morara is a brilliant chap. And many people do not know really that even when I worked for KU, one of the reasons I was chased from KU was because of Morara.
Tell us that story.
And at some point he was living in my house.
Before we go to that, tell us that story of you being chased at KU.
So at some point
KUTV,
at some point I worked for KUTV.
Okay.
And I was one of the managers there. I was in charge of corporate affairs. And but remember, I was very young. I started working for KU. Professor Mugenda gave me a job at KU when I was still a student.
Okay.
During the formative stages of the setting up of KUTV. So I was the student in the committee that was setting up the TV. So I was sitting with all these professors and whatever. So at the time, of course, I have a lot of relations with people in student leadership. So Morara is my friend. He's younger than me, but he's one of those young people that is coming up in the university, and I'm supporting. And he's trying to run for president, yeah. And so every other time he would come to my office up at KUTV, consult on one or two things, yeah. Be able to guide him on one or two things. He goes, tries to execute here and there. And then that is around the same time the university gets burnt. Now, a story Morara should give for himself someday.
Okay.
So the university goes up in flames because I think Morara had been blocked from being on the ballot or something. But now he's heavily associated with me, and I'm staff
of the KU
of the university.
Yes.
So at some point, some of the managers are like, "This Mundalo guy must be the one funding Morara." Of course, that was even very far from true. Of course, I was just a young person who was also supportive of the movement and what they were agitating for, but not the banning of anything. And so that became how but then that happens. Morara ends up in jail. I remember the day actually Morara was arrested, he was coming from my house. Because that time he was staying in my house. So that morning when we were leaving, and I have an instinct and I tell him, we're in a matatu heading to KU. We get to Kahawa Sukari. And I tell him, let's alight. You don't need to meet these guys. There were some guys who were looking for him, who were in his coalition of the politics at the time.
Okay.
So me, I lied. He refuses. He goes. My instinct was right. He was being waited for at the gate. We were being waited for at the gate.
So go ushikiwe pia wewe.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So even though endi alishikwa, he ended up.
So you survived.
Yeah. So, but generally, what I was trying to say is, sometimes, as a young person, and you had asked me about what Kasmuel's move to join ODM, I believe it was a right move, because a time comes when you have to understand the nature of the game, because you are now at the heart of the politics, and Kasmuel only had two options: be a right political leader or be an activist. So choose where you want to be.
Okay.
Most of the people in the activism space were using him without his knowledge. So people would front him because you see he was the one who was getting the media attention. So when activist groupings front him, they have justification to claim for donor funding.
Yes.
But he's an honest young man fighting for rights and freedoms of the people, agitating for the right thing. But someone is using his image to push a totally different agenda.
Yeah.
And then him as a young person, what exactly does he want to see? He wants to see an end to certain things, an end to corruption, and meaning he's fighting for governance. Meaning he's fighting a political battle.
Yeah.
So it is right for him to be in a political setup instead of being in a complaining setup in a corner.
Yes.
Because most activist groupings, what they do is complaining is the profession. So it's not about getting anything done. It's just about we group in a corner and we must always complain. That's why I asked you when we were beginning, and I told you, some of these people, have you ever seen them saying anything is happening? Since they were born, since you knew them, every time you see them on TV, something wrong
Something is happening.
is happening.
So why were you fired? Tupeleke pale KU.
By the way, up to today, they have never really given me a proper reason. And you guys should ask this, your producer.
Were you support Morara, or what happened?
It was just a turmoil of a lot of things. There was the politics. I thought I was doing everything right at the time, because when I was in charge of corporate affairs for the TV, I really tried, even in terms of championing and marketing KUTV across the country. I had a lot of activation movements. I sat in panels that hired a lot of very competent people that I proposed, including people like Jesse Rogers, who is one of the people that I proposed for KUTV. He's done a very good job. He's now at KTN. Yeah, so we have so many people that we are bringing on the table, and we're doing a lot of, even the content, doing a lot of content that was youth friendly, a lot of content that was promoting even the students at the time. And so sometimes when you are young, energetic and ambitious, they're just feathers you get to rattle without your own knowledge. So some people just felt like he is too much, or so I think, because I cannot pin a point to anything. In fact, at the time, the director of KUTV at the time, who was called Dr. Mwangi, had just written a letter to the VC to even promote me. Yeah.
Your enemies were formed against you. Walikuwa nataka kukumaliza.
I remember, so when the Dr. Mwangi went on leave, some people connived, went and fed a funny narrative somewhere, and just one day I'm seated on my desk. Actually, I'd just come from a management meeting where I was discussing how to do a survey to understand the ratings of the TV at the time. Then someone brings me a letter, and I'm seated in the office, and I'm like, the letter was, I think, 3 lines. Actually, I was not brought a letter.
3 lines?
Yeah, I was fired with 3 lines. I was actually not brought a letter. I'm forgetting. What happened, we finished that job that day very well. I leave, and then I go pick some of my younger siblings, and go for shopping in Two Rivers. Then while there, one of the TV managers, the TV calls me, asks me, is it possible, can you really you really need to come to the office right now, and it's almost 9, and I'm wondering what would be bringing, what is this that is so urgent that would need me to go back. So I drive all the way, and I'm with my younger siblings in the car. So I just go and pass by to see what's happening. So I get there, I get to the office, then she hands me over a letter. What is this? I read it, 3 lines. The only question I asked is, wouldn't this have waited till morning? Really? Would I need to struggle with traffic all the way?
You're the net of fired with immediate effect.
So that's what happened. Then, so I fold the thing, put in my pocket, go to the car and go. No, I didn't tell nobody.
What?
In the car, nothing. So I went. The following day, I reported to work.
You must be that guy.
The following day, I reported to work like nothing happened. Because I wanted to understand the veracity. Like, how deep is this thing? So I report to work. I'm in the office. Then the administrator comes, tells me there is someone who needs to see me. Like, the day runs normal. So I discovered this administrator is not aware that I'm fired.
So it was something from someone.
So it is just something that happened somewhere, and this letter had to come straight to somebody, and it had to get straight to me. So the letter was not even in documentation. You see, normally there is a way letters move. It gets to the administrator, the director, and whatever. Then it gets to you. Yeah. So no chain. Even the people who were under me, nobody knew that their boss is giving vague rules now. He's a fired guy. So nobody was aware. I even called the director, who was my boss now. And he's shocked. He's like, what's happening? How? Where? I sent him the letter on WhatsApp. He's shocked. So that was what happened. And so I actually continued going to work for 1 week.
And then?
I remember I had just produced t-shirts. And anyone who has worked for government knows that is not a mean achievement. Like, before you deal with the bureaucracy, to produce almost 1,000 t-shirts for the TV, I had gotten a new sponsor and all that.
Yeah.
So I came, distributed my last t-shirts, whatever. Yeah, then at some point I had to allow it sink in. I sat in the house for over a week without leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, then started moving it pole pole to sink. I think then a month later, I get a call from Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. That is how I moved to Kenya Film Classification Board.
Wow.
And then that's how we again start meeting with KUTV people somewhere. I would say that's totally a different story. But that's exactly, to answer your question, that's how I was moved out of KUTV.
Do you actually think that someone was feeling intimidated somewhere?
Definitely. I feel, yeah, there was someone who was feeling intimidated. There's just someone who felt this boy is coming too much. Maybe this boy is too ambitious. This boy thinks he knows so much. You know, we have those people who usually feel like that.
Yes.
But today, when you ask me, do I regret it? I don't. Because I really believe in the hand of fate. That certain things happen certain ways for certain reasons.
Yes.
Because I look at it and looking backwards, I ask myself, if that had not happened, probably I would just be seated on a desk there in that TV.
But you never know. You see, your calling.
Yeah,
your calling is even much bigger. So
yeah.
At the end of the
day, so
they channeled you to your alignment.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, you have somehow fate. Sometimes fate has to allow you get dropped.
Yes.
So that you are picked up by the right person.
Wow, that's
because sometimes if you don't drop, you don't get picked up by the right person. So do I hold any grudges? No, I don't. That's why most of them are my friends up to today. We still have cordial conversations. When they ask of me sometimes to do interviews at KUTV, and I do it very graciously.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have very cordial relations, because I really believe that sometimes people are just used as avenues to get you to where you are actually supposed to be. Yeah, it's just sometimes to get you to your right destination. So I have no grudges, no feelings with with anybody.
You mentioned earlier that you also run an organization.
Yeah.
Talk about it, kidogo.
Two Sense Leadership Institute is an organization where we basically do leadership training and communication consultancy. Why did I choose to do this? Is because I realized that we have a lot of trouble within institutions, and most of the reason is because of lack of proper training in the leadership of the people taking charge of the institutions.
Okay.
And as we move forward, as we progress in life, the capacity building and the ability that cannot be taken over by AI is the soft skill development of people.
Yes.
So at my organization, we do a lot in building the soft skills, the communication, the emotional intelligence, the leadership fundamentals.
Now
that is what we do.
You doing this program of capacity building and whatever, let's put it now, let's conjoin it with the Gen Z movement.
Yeah.
Do you think they need leadership?
True. Actually, there's a program that we are starting, I think, the week or next week. That is basically I'm having conversations with young people and helping to start training them on matters leadership. Not just myself, but also with others who have done better in the industry. It's not a one-man show for my organization. We have people who train in legal. My chair of the advisory board is Dr. Ezekiel Mutua.
Oh, okay.
So it is not, there is a lot of need. You see, identification of the problem, Amina, is not what makes you a leader. Unfortunately, in our country, we credit leadership for identification of the problem.
Not the solutions.
Not identification of the solution.
Yes.
So that's why we keep complaining as a country. Because every time we go to the ballot, we vote the person who identifies the problem the best. We don't vote the person who tells us how to solve the problem the best. And the reason is because it is so easy to identify a problem. But because, again, human psychology and human psyche is that our emotions are drawn to people who say things we want to hear and things that resonate with our brain.
True.
So because of that, we tend to think those people are very good. So which young person in Kenya does not know there's an unemployment problem?
No one.
All these young people here, they know that there's a challenge called unemployment. But you'll bring someone on this table and they'll really tell you about the same unemployment. Then they'll feel like he's wise. Which young person today does not know that there's a problem called police brutality?
Talk about police brutality.
All of us know, right?
Talk about
all of us are aware that there's police brutality. But you'll call someone here and then they'll talk about police brutality. Then these young people will say he's intelligent. Yet they know the problem.
Talk about police brutality.
So even before I talk about police brutality, to finish to finish the answer to your question is, when we train the young people on matters leadership and what it's needed and how you can actually be a force to a solution, we get better leaders. So that we don't train young people that you become a leader basically because of your identification of the problem. So that is what we try to do. We try to teach that. We try to train that when we have a challenge on unemployment, let us talk about how will we solve the problem. So today, you'll be able to see, we have so many people who now want to be leaders. So many. Everyone thinks, there is a Gen Z uprising. So it's time for young people. I do not disagree. But time for which type of young person? Yeah? Part of the attribute of knowing that you're a leader also as a young person is to have the capacity to listen to those who came before you. Because again, the problem we're having today as young people is we think we have the monopoly of wisdom. Most of the young people I talk to, they know everything. We know everything. And everyone above us knows nothing. Everyone who came before us knows nothing, and we know everything. Now, that does not give us very good ground for leadership.
True.
Because that simply means that in the future, someone is going to complain about us. And we must also be able to know that in the leadership, there is a higher calling for patience. A very high calling for patience, and a very high calling for us to be able to be accommodative of the opinion of others. Most of us today are calling on the leaders to be accommodative of our opinion. But the question is, are we accommodative of other people's opinion? You'll realize most of the younger people today are the ones who are very impatient. So when we train, we get them to understand that patience is also a virtue.
Yeah.
You saw what my friend Morara did. He was very happy when he was very popular. The moment the same people started throwing one or two insults to him on the same social media, he said, I've left politics. Right?
Then now they're asking, why are you leaving politics?
So the question becomes, if you were the president, would you, and there was this clamor, and there was this agitation, can you imagine if for once, President Ruto had also said, fine, I have left State House? What would have happened to all of us? I can assure you,
it is choose another one and move on.
It is usually not as easy as we want it to look.
Yeah, true.
Because once
factual,
if the president, the leader must be able to take the knack, in every position of leadership. Today, Amina, you being at this position of leadership where you are leading this conversation, there's a gentleman who just goes on your comment section and says, I don't like high earrings. Stupid, you should leave.
It happens. But
so does it mean you don't show up the next day?
No.
You see?
Show up
so those are the things that at 2 cents we really try to train and so nurture. That we nurture better leadership for the country.
Nice.
Because the country's problems are not about who identifies the problem the best. It's about who identifies the solution the best.
But most of the people, we don't know that. Actually, that's why we're having this dialogue.
Yeah.
So the other day, nilikuwa naona the verdict of the Clincy Baraza, the policeman who shot Boniface Karaoke.
Yeah.
He was so sad. Like, you could even see him looking down. The verdict was just there all over, the media, people all over his face, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Talk about police brutality kidogo.
It is an extremely unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
There is a lot of reform that is needed within our police force. Despite the fact that we call it a police service, yes, we changed the adjective to it, but not necessarily the functioning of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lot of work that needs to be done. But be that as it may, that is the easiest thing to say. Everybody seated on this on this seat that you've given me would tell you that same thing. The question is, how do we do it? We can only be able to identify this solution when we get the problem in context.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let us be able to get the context that the policeman today is also a Gen Z. We forget that.
Yeah, the younger guys, but on the street.
That policeman that you see on the street is also a Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So, probably, just the same issues that the Gen Z is complaining about are also the issues that policeman has.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Some of them, he's a policeman because he failed to get the job he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He's as frustrated. Yeah? So, how do we then move forward? So, for us to have the rightfulness of the job of the police, we must ensure that the police does their thing right.
Mm-hmm.
And we, the people, must also do it right. Let us not always only push the blame to one section.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at it, if this friend of mine here, if I wake up, no matter how peaceful a guy he is, if I wake up, go pinch his nose, yeah, and tell him that he's very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The rules of the studio here is that he should be accommodative to guests and he should treat guests well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? But do you think he'll keep treating me well?
No.
You get?
Because but I feel like
he is not a bad person.
Yes.
But I've also been able to just push him too far.
Mm-hmm.
We must agree that even in our doings, in our quest for justice, in our quest for every agitation that we've done, and we've done it rightfully so, some of us, not all of us, also have been able to push police to extremes. Does that justify them killing anybody? No, it doesn't. They should be able to also contain themselves in a manner that is deemed to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we achieve that? We start from the recruitment process. How do we recruit our police?
Thank you. Let's go.
Yeah? How do we recruit our police? Because you cannot garbage in and poke out.
Because it's garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So the process of recruitment of our police has to be looked at. Who do we recruit to be our police? And now, when we are looking at that process of recruitment, let us not only blame one person and say the recruiter is the problem. No. It's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. There's the problem of the recruiter, and there's our problem. Because it is also us Kenyans who think everyone who failed should be a policeman. It is us who call and try to bribe people, the people at the recruitment, say, hey guy, I have people who call me, they say, Maze, this my child got alifanya vibaya sana, anaweza pata chance kwa polisi. You know, like we have branded the police.
And then let's go back there
a certain way.
Yes.
So
yes.
You see, we are the ones who are getting, like when a person starts being stubborn. I don't know if you've seen that. I see that in my village. I don't know if you've seen it. Like a person who is stubborn is recommended for the police. Like, because this person is unruly.
Okay.
He's a person we cannot manage. Huyu si mtupe polisi. And so you see, that is the person.
The same person to come and spare you in the streets.
Yeah,
no.
So that is the person we recruited.
Yeah,
so despite the fact that yes, there was a problem with the recruiter, but we participated in that recruitment. So we must be able to, everyone must take responsibility, Amina. Mm-hmm. The problem with us is most of the time we only want the other person to take responsibility. The other person, we never want to be the ones.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I can assure you, even in this podcast, if you finish here and you discover there is a lot of problem, yeah, none of you will take responsibility. Every one of you will have someone who should take responsibility. Say, no, it was the sound guy.
It was the sound guy who did that.
If the camera guy had not done that. But see, Amina, you didn't sit well. You'd have sat like this.
No, like
you see, like whatever.
But the point
so
is,
the issue
Mundalo,
for us to get the solution,
the point is,
everyone
Mundalo,
must take
at the end of the day, the point is, we should have civic education when it comes to like the policemen and us. Let's have that civic education of, I'm not supposed to shoot and kill. I'm not supposed to do this and this. But at the end of the day,
the police know that, Amina.
They know that, but let's have that civic education towards them, because I feel like the problem is not what you know. Sometimes it's the exposure. Since I was born. Yeah.
By the way, Amina, do you know what time
I have never seen a peaceful demonstrations in Kenya.
No, they have been there.
I have never seen.
Let me tell you about one.
Okay.
The first Gen Z protest had nobody killed. The first Gen Z protest. I remember.
It was a peaceful one. People had their flags and their water.
People had a flag, water. In fact, I remember Kimani Ichung'wah called them KFC eating people.
Yes, I remember.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody died. Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
They went to the street peacefully and went home.
I remember.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that should actually be the demonstration. The issue is there are extremes that demonstrators have, and there are extremes that the policemen have. So, but generally in the Kenyan setup, we like putting the blame only on one side. And that's why we keep not getting the solution.
Mm-hmm.
We must be able to interrogate both of the sides. I have participated in demonstrations. I was in Azimio. We did the Sufuria Maandamano. Yeah? And sometimes we could recruit, and our own people would be telling the policemen, now start giving us tear gas. You see?
Yeah.
So that is just the reality. So all of us have a responsibility. We must be able to protect the police as just as much as we want them to protect us. I mean, you have to remember that these policemen, some of them during those demos, they are on the street at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? 3 a.m. This gentleman is standing at CBD with that rifle and is carrying those ninis of the
tear gas.
The tear gas. Mm-hmm. So before himself, he's already carrying 10 kgs. And he's there at 3. You are sleeping. Right? You show up at 1. Now look, that person has not eaten.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like the gentleman who moves with them mkokoteni and tries to give them food, right? You know, that should show you something. By fact that they accept to be given, that should show you something.
Mm-hmm.
Because ordinarily, if they were okay, they would not pick. But they do. They do pick that and that milk. That shows you what type of person you are dealing with. By the time you are showing up at 3 p.m. to insult him, to throw shade at him, this is a gentleman who was there at 3. And this gentleman has to run after you from CBD to Ngara.
And why should we run against each other? See, to find a peaceful demonstration. That's my
exactly. And that's what I'm telling you. For us to be able to have the peaceful demonstration, all of us to have to hold each other to responsibility. Yeah? Because we have people, Amina, who go there specifically
to steal.
To we have people who go to cause chaos. We have people who are not comfortable with the police just standing. They must rattle him until he behaves a certain way.
Yes.
Yeah, even the other day during the Sabasaba protest, the Kalonzo and the family, they went with their flowers. It was very peaceful in the morning. They went all the way. When they were just about to get to where they were supposed to lay the flowers, someone threw stones. Now, after the stones got thrown, the police have to react. Now, once the police react, it becomes chaos. It becomes chaotic. It becomes... The other day when we were having... which marathon is this that was happening in town?
I forgot, but it was about something to deal with bikers or
something.
Yeah.
The roads were blocked, right?
Yes.
And the marathon happened. And all of us were deflated. And I was going to the office that day, I was told, move, wenda utokea wapi. Yeah. No one complained. Even we motorists who are being told to divert didn't complain. No tear gas was thrown. And they ran all the way and get back. So it's a question of order. I mean,
not even order. I feel like it's not about order. At the end of the day, we have peaceful demonstrators who are really want this country to move forward and have a good country, a good system and move. But I feel like that mandamano or the demos on the street should not be disrupted, because once we start now throwing tear gas, it starts to be like chaotic and everything. That's when we experience brutality.
Very true.
And that's when actually we experience now the Sabasaba, the thing that happened in Sabasaba.
Yeah.
A child was shot.
Yeah.
She was just in the house. These stray bullets. So let's talk about that, because I felt like Sabasaba, not so many people went out and demonstrated.
Yeah.
Actually, wase wengi, so many people are like baki in their homes and so on and so forth. But it's now the police kutembea kwa mtaa to make sure to maintain law and order and so on and so forth. But now talk about that, because I felt like that was it came close to home. They should not be firing anyhow, because kuna incidents zenye it was happening and it was so hurtful.
I agree with you, and it has always come close to home. It was not the first time.
Yes,
because even baby Pendo was a child who got fired at. I think the baby was in the house or something. Once we start going through the rough path of anarchy, there is no going back, and there is never a sober explanation.
Really?
Yeah, and that is why I keep insisting on, let us get it right from the beginning. Otherwise, what we are now doing today is, instead of seeking the solution, we are looking for who has the volume to blame the other the best. And once we get there, it again becomes politics. So it becomes, you will be able to say about the gentleman who was shot. Now, the other person reminds you about Baby Pendo.
The other person reminds you about that.
Then the other one reminds you about the other one. Within no time, we get to now someone reminding you about Mau Mau.
Yeah, and that's what you said earlier. People know how to identify problems in Kenya, but we don't have solutions.
Yeah, so for us to really get the solution to this, first of all, we must refuse the politics. Let's just cut politicking. Let us be able to also understand that most political arguments, people argue politically using the side of the coin that they are, not using objectivity.
Or sense.
Yeah, so today when you are in government, you say this. Tomorrow when you are out, you say something totally different. That's the nature of politicians. Now, for us, because we must be able to understand that the currency of a politician is the ignorance of the masses.
Repeat that again.
The currency of the politician is the ignorance of the masses. We are so ignorant, Amina, that today, do you know all you need to do to win an election today in a place like Mount Kenya? I'm in politics. I'll tell you what you need to do. Yeah?
Tell us.
Join DCP. Then say what? That will be the it. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, for us to be able to get something right, we must continue reducing our ignorance. Reducing our ignorance means facing the problem for what it is. There is a problem of police brutality. The policeman is getting it wrong on this and that and that. Me, as Mundalo, as a member of the public, I'm also getting it wrong on this and that and that. The moment I feel like I am the one who is right and the policeman is wrong, I am helping a political narrative without my knowledge. Any argument that always makes you the saint and the other person the devil always know that that argument is not going to be fair, because then everybody is going to try to be the one who will have the least of the share of the blame. That's why, I mean, even in relationships, the moment the person who comes and defends themselves, your instinct is also to defend yourself.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, there is no solution. There is just bloating of egos.
Okay. So now you've touched on relationship. Are you blessed now ama bado
niko tu hivi Amina?
Hapana, huwezi sema ili crumble down kama ile ya KU.
Ili crumble too. I'm not married.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. So first of all, thank you so much for gracing the studio. That
Asante,
was a very, very, let me say, a mind-blowing session, because I've also learned a lot when it matters politics, matters, you know, when it comes to like nurturing leadership and so on and so forth.
Sure.
You pointing out how we are headed, the state of the nation.
Yeah.
But tell us, do you feel like this is the question where we depart from each other? So do you feel like bad leadership trickles down?
No. Bad leadership trickles up.
How?
Because it starts with the people. By the time we get the leader, we start with you, Amina.
Yes.
It's you, Amina, who goes to the ballot and chooses to vote for the person who shouts the problem.
That's deep.
It never starts at the top. The issue is, because we love ourselves so much, Amina, we always want to have an argument that makes us saints. And that's why every time we want to discuss leadership, we say how bad the leader is. And then we feel so nice about it. We want to forget that the leader did not drop from Mars.
We are the ones who chose him.
We are the ones who chose that leader. So the first line of defense, the first line of the problem should be us. At some point, we should go to the streets and demonstrate against ourselves. Then we'll be starting to get it right. We can't be able to make mistakes after every 5 years, and then we never want to be held to account. We don't take responsibility. We only want to blame the other person, because we only want to appeal to our emotions. And that's what we are doing even today. You look at the political scenario today, and some of the most popular people today are some of the people who are very unpopular just a few months ago. The reason is they are appealing to our emotions. So again, we want to get into a new problem, because the only thing we are doing is we are really shouting and we are really very happy about the person articulating the problem. We are not concentrating a bit on what is the solution. So we are only promoting the problem.
Come 2027.
Yeah.
Do you think Kenyans will make the right decision?
My hope is that they try to. But as things are, and as the way I'm seeing things going on, I don't feel like, because most of what I see is emotional thinking. Most of what I see is us using the whims of emotions. Most of what I'm seeing is us accepting to be mobilized by politicians in the political corners.
Yes.
So unless we start having these conversations, then we might end up with a better 2027. But if not, then we'll end up with the same thing that I've told you, Amina. The person who identifies the problem
but not there
is the one who is going to be the leader. Then you will discover that all he knew or all she knew
was the problem.
Or what makes them trend. Unfortunately, we vote for that and trends. The person who says things that can be trendy.
Okay.
I challenge you, Amina, and I challenge your viewers and listeners to list down all the leaders.
Look at that camera and tell them.
Yeah. I want to challenge you that list down all the leaders that you think are very good, all the leaders that you think have done the right job, all the leaders that you think you're going to elect in 2027. Write them one after the other. After you write them, write 3 reasons for each of them why you'll actually elect them, and ensure the reason you've written is not a problem. Ensure what you've written is the solution. Then you'll discover that maybe your list is not as long as you thought. Thank you.
Wow. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amina.
Advice, Mundalo. I think the name was given to you on purpose. Advice. Mundalo. Because you have the right advice,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for gracing the studio today.
Anytime.
Mimi nimeshukuru sana. Continue building the culture, continue building the creative industry, continue inspiring the young politicians, and so on and so forth.
Definitely.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Amina Hussein, and remember, you are watching Sips and Soul. Till next time.